It's quite simple, really, and not all that complicated. My thought on this is simple. Screw Pablo Hidalgo. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm just kidding. I actually have more to say on that. But yeah, screw him. He can go to hell. Go to hell and die. And I know that probably seems a bit harsh, but here's the thing about Pablo Hidalgo. He is a dick. And a douche canoe. But here's the thing people seem to not understand, or at least those of you who aren't paying attention. He has been a dick and a douche canoe. Pablo Hidalgo is probably the biggest turncoat in the Star Wars creation team. This guy made lots of stuff for the EU, and had no problem casting that aside and insulting fans, calling them white supremacists, neo-Nazis, white nationalists, sexists, all the buzzwords you can think of. He's done it all. So this doesn't surprise me. And I'm not going to defend Star Wars theory because, well, I don't have to. He did nothing wrong. All he did was cry in front of a camera and then post it to the world. Well, no. He's completely okay in this scenario. And for the record, I'm not a big fan of his anymore, but yeah, no, this was stupid of Pablo Hidalgo. And I think it just shows what a little bitch he is that he deleted the tweet, or I think he either deleted the tweet or put it under protection. And then he also put it up as his, I think, background for his Twitter profile, but then he changed it back. So yeah, like Mark Hamill, he shows he bows to pressure eventually and shuts his mouth when enough people tell him to shut up. And if you don't believe me about him being a turncoat, look up Tad Larkin. He has a second channel where he did a video covering this, going over all the crap about the EU, and Pablo Hidalgo was mentioned in it a couple of times. As for Star Wars theory, I hope he just moves on with this and doesn't go on a crusade about it. I hope this does also awaken him to the fact that people at Lucasfilm are a bit like the people at Marvel and DC. They do not give a front-flipping thunk about the people who give them money, or pay them, or where their money comes from. They talk down to people all the time, and you do not matter. To all of them, we're just plebs, peasants. They don't care about us. Pablo Hidalgo probably just some bitter old man who's sad that he's probably lonely because he has no one in his life, because no sane person who's not bitter doesn't do crap like this. I said the same thing about Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger, except Bob Iger, I think, has a family, so he's not a completely useless piece of shit. He's still a piece of shit, mind you, but not as useless. And he didn't get to the position he was in for nothing. Although I think Eisner did say he has no creativity whatsoever, and I would have to agree. Bob Iger looks like the kind of guy who has the creative integrity of a day-old turd. Pablo Hidalgo, well, he's a bit like the FBI. Like I said in my last video, the FBI at one point served its purpose and did it well. The same thing can apply to Pablo Hidalgo. At one point in his life, this guy was good for something. That time is long past. And much like the FBI, he is long overdue for disillusion or just to be kicked to the curb. And I know that's harsh. But this guy, like most people at Lucasfilm, seems more interested in alienating their customers than appeasing them and making money. Unlike the people in France and Japan making comics, they have forgotten what they are, which is entertainers. You make stuff to entertain us and we pay you for it. We don't give you money for nothing, and we certainly don't give a shit about your politics. But I'm just going to avoid talking about that subject. My main point is, my thoughts on this is simple. Pablo Hidalgo is a dick. He has been consistently a dick since Disney bought Star Wars and turned his back on the old stuff. Everything that was made before, he turned his back on it. He's a sellout. A shyster. And a liar. A plain and simple liar, slanderer, and a heckler. So screw him. Who cares what he thinks or says? You should call him out on this, though. Do not let them get away with this, because if you are silent, they can just control the conversation and say, oh, look, there's no resistance to us saying all this dumb shit. Like, Weaponized Nerd Rage had a good point about this with Anita. They can say, oh, look, there's no resistance. Hire us. We're not destroying the industry. We're not trying to bring it all down and burn it to the ground like a bridge. But yeah, that's my main thought. Screw him. Screw Disney in general for letting him get away with this, because I doubt anything's going to happen. If it does, I would be genuinely surprised. I think Pedro Pascal, like him getting shit for his tweet on Instagram, that I find believable, because The Mandalorian's about the closest thing they have to saving Star Wars at this point, which in and of itself is on life support as far as I'm concerned. As much as I like The Mandalorian and I'm rooting for the Boba Fett show, it is still on my support. They've alienated too many people. But yeah, Pablo Hidalgo's not working on that. They have him mainly working with books now, I think. Like with this one book where they tried to, I think, mitigate or lessen Luke in some way. Or just to make Rey look good. Like they cannot, it's too hard for them to admit, hey, I made a shit movie and a shit trilogy. Like it's too hard for Pablo Hidalgo, Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and Jar Jar Abrams to admit, hey, I made a shitty move, I made a mistake, I didn't have a plan, and I've been making it up as I go along. They couldn't just do that and move on with their lives and maybe earn some respect from their viewers. Instead, no, they have to double, triple, quadruple. I don't even know what to call this. It's like Purple-Aki. They've not only doubled, tripled, or quadrupled down, they've done multiple double downs and are continuing to do it. And there's no apology. They don't apologize for the shit they've done. The fact J.J. Abrams, I doubt, will ever apologize for the fact he's destroyed a lot of stuff. He went into Star Wars, it is now ruined. He went into Star Trek, it is now ruined. He's now going into DC, and I am tipping my hat, placing it over my heart for DC, because at this point, it's more like a mercy killing. But here I am dragging this on. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know yours, and remember the game was rigged from the start.